All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. This is your main man. I am a different echelon, and we're here for another podcast of the I Am a Different Echelon podcast. We are so favored today to have one of my favorite people in the Charleston area with us today. As you can see, she is full of smiles and full of zest and full of vigor. Let us all welcome in Miss Denika Richardson. Can I give you a government? Is that okay?
I guess at this point.
Please don't have any warrants now, but Denika of the Denika SoPretty Experience, or the SoPretty Experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's good. Speak up a little bit for the audience, okay?
Okay.
All right, very good. All right, good. So yeah, we have you on today. So as always, we start the podcast off with a little current events. Yesterday we had they called it one of the most important, or the most important, vice presidential debates of all time. Primarily because many believe that if former Vice President Biden wins the election, that he will, in about a year's time, yield his seat to his vice president, which will be Senator Kamala Harris out of California, which will make her the first female president of the United States of America. So I know, and you're about to let everyone else know, that you and Ms. Harris have something in common.
Absolutely.
Not only do you have long hair, but you also represent the same sorority, AKA.
Absolutely.
So, Miss Denika, what are your thoughts on what's going on here with the whole debate? Like, what's your thoughts? What's your feeling on it?
I think I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed the debate yesterday much more than the Biden-Trump debate, and that because it was just a childish display. But I think that she presented herself very well. I think she handled herself very well. But I do feel like that debate was something that a lot of Black women can relate to. Sitting in a room with a man, a white man, that is allowed to be rude. He is allowed to interrupt you, talk over you, and she had to hold her composure and remain calm, because had she responded any other way, all we would have heard was, "Look at that angry Black woman." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's unfortunate. But I definitely enjoyed how she remained calm, poised. She stuck with the facts. She presented herself well and did not back down, which I think is very important.
Right.
And I don't think, I'm not saying that we should support Kamala as our vice president or as Biden's candidate or support Biden just because Kamala is a Black woman. I'm not saying it. I do believe that there are a lot of things from her past that she still has to answer for. She's been, I guess I feel like she's been doing that, and I'm not super into politics, but I try to be informed when that time comes so that I'm able to make an informed decision for my vote. I can't speak for the votes of anyone else. I don't tell anyone else who to vote for, but to speak for my vote, I enjoyed it. I think she did really well last night.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was talking to someone earlier, and I knew going in that she was going to have a lot against her. Number one, being a woman, and somebody corrected me and said that she's a woman of color. As far as I'm concerned, she got a little Black in it. She's Black, so being a Black woman,
because they're going to identify her as such.
Yeah, right. So I knew that the current vice president was going to have a hard time, even if he were to be fair. Like anytime he stepped out of line or there was like a funny moment, it was going to be like, well, look, again, he's talking over a woman. And then you add the element of her being Black or of color, then look at him, a white man, a rich white man, power, blah, blah, talking over. So I don't discredit what you say at all, but I knew that he would have had a hard time from the very, very beginning.
Very true.
Yeah, so I do believe that.
We're gonna defend them.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting though, D, is that we've seen in both debates that the moderator cannot maintain control.
Oh, God.
And I have a suggestion, which would be once their 2 minutes are up, they need to cut their microphone. That way they can't talk over the other person.
But they would just start yelling.
Well, at this point, they need Suge Knight to be the moderator, because we need somebody with, some.
You gotta put some fear in them or
Yeah,
something.
we got to put some fear in them. So yeah, that's that. But anyway, I just want to touch on that for about 5 minutes. But let's get into you. So a little background on how I met you. I used to go to a local gym. You worked at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you were disobedient and would not wear the uniform at the gym. So I said, something's up with this person. So we met or whatever the case is. And, you've been a good friend to me thus far. But you were always dolled up. You never had the sweatpants on. You never had any of that other stuff. You always kind of like how you look right now is how you always look as far as I've seen you. So give a little background about, your upbringing in the sense of how you became to be Denika SoPretty.
So growing up, I was very much a tomboy because I don't have any sisters. I have I have 2 brothers, and then I have a lot of guy cousins. I do have some younger girl cousins, but they came along about maybe 6 years behind me. So I was this country girl, barefoot tomboy, and I'm still like that a little bit. I like basketball, I like hockey and rough sports and that kind of thing. So as I started to get older and started to, come into your own and everything like that, I just started to care a little bit more. And it could be because of my mom, growing up, my mother and I and Kamala all have that same AKA similarity in common.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, my mom always made a big deal about her appearance. And not because she was ever insecure. My mom didn't have issues with self-esteem or anything like that. It wasn't that she felt like she needed to look a certain type of way for other people. She just always said, when you look good, you do good. So she always made a point to make sure that I understood the importance of what I presented when I walk out of the door. And that's as early as, I think maybe as early as 2nd or 3rd grade. I just wanted to jump up and throw on a pair of ripped jeans and run out the door, or grab a pair of pants off the floor in the bedroom and just run to the bus stop. And she would catch me every morning like, absolutely not. And as I started to get older and I started to go to, when I went to college and I started to meet people and everything like that, even in high school, I noticed that my teachers perceived me differently than some of my other friends. And that's just because certain things that, girls in high school, you get kind of risque. You want to do the crop tops, the high splits and that kind of thing. And that really wasn't my thing. I just always looked nice. I had clean clothes. I wanted to smell nice and that kind of thing. I still wasn't into makeup or anything like that. Makeup didn't come until much later, but I just started to take note to how I felt when I dressed better, not necessarily better, but how I felt when I got dressed in the morning, the kind of day that I had. And it just became such a part of my routine that it just became almost like a lifestyle for me. And how my younger female family members looked up to me and how they responded. And I realized that I had eyes watching me. That I was setting the example for what's acceptable, just like my mother was the example for me. That's kind of just that little bit of background. And then, go ahead.
No. I wasn't going to stop you. But since you gave me a time to get in, that's very, very important. And I want to kind of talk about perception. So there's a big perception of Black girls in America, but in the South as well. And and I know you're not going to be offended when I say this, but you're a darker skinned Black girl.
Right.
So I didn't realize. And again, a lot of times, and I'll speak about me mostly, but there are a lot of things that we don't know as men that women go through, our Black women we go through. So I was introduced to this phrase or this term probably like maybe 4 years ago. I was dating this young lady, and she was a lighter skin. Shout out to the wine. A lighter skin African American woman, and she taught me about colorism,
Mm-hmm.
and she went back to slavery and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I knew that, you know, the lighter skinned people were in the house and the darker skinned ones were in the field, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I still see that now today. And I didn't know what the name of it was. In fact, I remember seeing some years before that the movie Django and
Right.
how they separated, you know, the two colors, so to speak, or the two shades, I guess I should say, the two
Right.
shades. And I just didn't realize that that was going on today. So did you ever feel any type of energy because you were a darker skinned young lady?
I was a tar baby, a grease monkey, Oreo cookie. Like it was crazy, crazy stuff like that.
Right.
But it wasn't those kind of things that necessarily bothered me.
Mhm.
And that's not out of arrogance, but I was a cute kid, you know. I was just a cute kid. Now everybody had their ugly phase. Now, don't get me
Right,
wrong, you know, it was a
yeah.
rough time. You know, you got to grow into your own. But
Yeah.
my mother made a point to validate me at home. She told me
Right.
that I was beautiful. My stepfather was very active in validating me at home, and I've always been the kind of person that like it kind of is gonna roll off my
Right.
back. I'm not saying that I'm bothered by it. I fought a lot. I got in a lot of fights in elementary school, middle school. I got in a lot of fights with those kind of things. But it was not something that for me personally gave me like life altering, you know, experiences or trauma. Like I do know some girls that experienced it and they're still dealing with it. They were processing it, and some women in my family had to process that as well. Why with the women that I encounter, I'm always forward about a compliment, you know. I love your hair. I love your dress. Wow, your skin is beautiful. And that's also why initially with my brand, when I started to do makeup, in a way, I did kind of almost partake in some of that myself, a bit of colorism, because I wanted to, when I look on Instagram, before the melanin magic and the black girl magic and the black girls rock thing came about, that we were celebrating all shades, a few years ago, I would see all of the same fair-skinned women. So when I first got into makeup, I didn't want to do the light-skinned girls. I would only want as dark as I could get them. It was the best, you know. I did, you know, me myself, I kind of fell in, and not intentionally, not even realizing that I was doing it, not even realizing that I was doing it. I just wanted to make a point to celebrate darker skin tones.
And I wanted to ask, you know, just kind of step in just for a second. I mean, you work in the night, girl. You're going a pretty good clip. I like what you're doing. But, you know, you said use the term fair skin. Can you kind of define that for the audience? Like for those
fair skinned would mean,
if you have to give an example, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm giving an example, like Alicia Keys.
Okay, so she would be fair skinned.
She's fair skinned, or what, you know, in the South we call them high yellow.
Yeah,
you know, red bones, or who else? A Lauren London, or God, who else? God, they gonna call me colorist now because I can't remember these.
No, that's what I think. I think you made the point. So who would be the opposite of that?
So I was shooting more for Lupita. I would go more for. I would even do like a Taraji P. Henson skin tone, a Kiki Palmer, like that really beautiful brown.
Viola Davis, you think? Viola Davis?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that's something too. Like, you know, you said the South, and you know, one thing I love about you, Denika, is that you do have a Charleston accent, and is quite charming. But you talked about like high yellow and those types of things. You know, what's unfortunate, D, is that we as Black people kind of give ourselves those nicknames
Oh yeah.
that are not flattering.
Yeah.
So here it is. We're fighting against racism outside of our race, but
And
there's
we
also what I call intra-race racism, like stuff going on within our race. And I think it's very interesting because, you know, just going back to it, like I'm from Brooklyn and I've heard High Yellow, I've heard Redbone. I mean, I've heard all of that. There's a song called Redbone. So,
right.
you know, that's a thing all around. And it's very, very unfortunate. But you know, the one thing I can always say about you is that you always look very nice. And me as a 6'4" Black man that has I'm like I have a presence and all that, but I'm always interested like to look good. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I run to the grocery store, if I run wherever I go, you know what I'm saying? Like even like when I put on my workout gear, like I think about it. And I think it's very important because as Black people, I feel like we always have to do a little bit more. Like we've been told that by our parents from day one.
Yeah,
So
you have
your parents is very important.
outstanding is the
Yeah,
norm. Being
right.
is not okay. That's like mediocre. Outstanding is what's acceptable. That's how we've been taught.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And you know, just to kind of like push that point. So this morning, and always try to, you know, fill my day with positivity. And, you know, so I started watching this particular designer. He's very famous. I'm just going to call his name Tom Ford.
Right.
So today has been my Tom Ford day. And I look at Tom Ford, I look at a person like Tommy Hilfiger, and we all know about the thing about Tommy Hilfiger. But my point is, is that those people, those designers, they always put the look first. And I think that as Black people, we need to do a better job. So for instance, like, you know, in dating and finding people, like you really can't, you really should not accept when somebody just throws on anything. Like I know there's a time and place for that, but if you're going out, you know, and I look at like both of us are church kids. So your mother is the so-called preacher. You know, we laugh and call her preacher.
Call her.
You know, yeah, she's the preacher, right? And shout out to your mom, by the way. I love her. But you know, we know going back to slavery, like for when we went to church as slaves, that was our time to dress up. So we took it very, very seriously because that was the only time that you can go to a function and see your people and celebrate. I mean, even if it's for an hour or two, whatever the time frame was, we put on our very, very best, you know, to praise the Lord and to have, you know, fellowship with our fellow brothers and sisters. But I brought that up because even in church, and not to get off on a tangent, but I feel like society as a whole has kind of lost that. Like, as you know, I work in the medical field, and I love to see older Black men, older Black women, and this is not to be discriminate, excuse me, but to keep it real, like back in the day, a button-down shirt, a pair of slacks, nice pair of shoes. You know, the guys have a little pocket thing right here with the glasses or whatever case. They got a hat on like this, you know, and Mr. Haywood or, you know, Mr. Mutri or, you know, some of those classic names. Yeah, Mr. Small.
Yeah, Mr. Mutri.
Yeah, exactly. And they come to the doctor's office. The doctor's office. Even if it's just to get blood pressure checked or to have a follow-up visit with the physician, they look their very best. And we've lost that. We've lost that. We've lost that so much. And I feel like, you know, I don't know who to blame it on. I want to point the finger so bad, but I think that us as a people, we've kind of lost that. We lost that edge. Like we've got so lax and we've gotten so like, you know, whatever. So it's good to see a person like yourself that's upholding that banner. And, you know, again, it's one thing to pose for IG and for, you know, Facebook or whatever it may be. But to be that way, you know, 95% of the time is very, very interesting. But you want to speak on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, see, like my grandfather's 88 years old. Button-up shirt, slack, and a belt every day. okay, every day. And I think it's that pride. I'm always one that likes to see someone look their best self and be their best self, you know?
Right.
Like
Right.
your appearance is always a big deal to you, right? And I've
Right.
always
You already
known
know that. Yeah.
I've always known that your appearance and then the appearance of the people in your presence. And it's
Right.
not, and I never took it as like a vain thing. I
Right.
took it as, if you care enough, if you don't care enough to make any effort
Right.
and what you look like, what you smell like,
Yeah. Right.
you don't care enough to make any effort, you definitely ain't gonna care enough about you, you know?
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's important. And you see a lot of that in like dating. I was married and everything like that. But I was admire married couples where you can tell, like, you may not see the husband and wife standing next to each other or side by side, but based on how they look, oh yeah, she married him, like, and he's married to her. Like, and then when they stand together and they go and they hug and they kiss, whatever, like, oh, I knew it because the husband gonna look like that, the wife is gonna look well as well. But I wanted to get more into you in regards to like the makeup thing, like you were saying earlier, that you were in college and you were influenced by some people there, and you started to wear makeup. So let's talk about the makeup. Like, what goes in? Like I always, again, being a guy, I don't know if a woman has makeup on or not unless it's like jammed on their face. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know, not until they say, oh, I'm wearing foundation or makeup. I don't even know the differences. I'm completely, but I think this is very important for men to hear and for women to hear. Like, and again, you're not the only person that wears makeup or the creator of makeup, but that's your specialty. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm exalting you as but just from your perspective personally, like, what goes into that?
So for me, the key to like a good flawless makeup application is hygiene. Okay. That's the basis.
So speak on that.
Hygiene in terms of washing your face, exfoliating your face, keeping your skin clean, because makeup can only do so much.
Right.
Okay. And makeup is, in my opinion, now, I don't want anybody to feel like shaded by the statement. In my opinion, makeup is intended to enhance. Right. It's not to change your appearance. And that is the misconception that some people have about makeup. They're not as much anymore, but you still get those comments like, I must stay natural. My man likes it natural. Or a man saying, oh, I like it natural. No, you don't know what natural is. Because see, what you think is natural, she got her eyelashes, eyeliner, lip gloss, and her eyebrows are done. That's not it. I think people, like a beat face, I guess you can say, is not be it every day for somebody. And that may be too much. And this may be too much for some people. And this took me all 6 minutes to do. But the base is always going to be the most important. Keeping your face clean, washing your face in the morning, night. Don't sleep with your makeup on. Because when we walk out, all of the toxins in the air, and we can tell by global warming, we in bad shape about now. But in general, the toxins in the air other people breathe, the just general germs, that stuff is coming into your face all day. So then you're gonna go home and lay on your pillow, and rub your face into that. That's the other thing. Switching out your sheets. We shouldn't be sleeping on the same pillowcases and in the same sheets for weeks on end, because your body drop dead skin off all over in your sleep, and then you're just laying back into dirt. You get what I'm
saying? And if I may say, just from a basic hygiene situation, like, your sheets should be changed. My mother was like every week. So,
my mom was in the bed.
Unless you're doing some extracurricular activity in there, you may be
a little more frequent,
a little more stuff. But it's very interesting. Like, I appreciate you kind of sharing that, because people a lot of times they want to give off a presentation without the work, And I'm older than you are, so I have to take a little bit extra care of myself. And in looking at,
dramatic now.
no, I mean, no, I'm just saying. No, I'm stating.
People at 41, you know, ain't.
Yeah, right. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the comment. No, but seriously, I think that, you know, it's important to watch it, even as a man.
Yeah.
You know? And it's funny because I have a good friend, and I feel like I mention him every podcast episode. But he and I talk. We were on the phone right before, you know, we got on here. But, you know, we always talk about, you know, taking care of yourself. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the barber shop because our barber in the area was so good. He would have a line like going down the street. But smelling good, keeping your hair cut. You know, I get my hair cut every week, and I just thank God for the blessing to be able to do it. And I wear nice clothes and I have things going for myself. And again, glory be to God. But what I would like to say is it's important to me. And for us to want to give off a good presentation, it takes work and it takes care, it takes concern. Yeah. And again, I would like to say, like, if you are out there and you're single, and I'm going to say this because I want to get onto this subject matter too, D. In my opinion, because of how society is set up, it's harder for women than men. Like, men can literally have pants on the ground,
yeah,
and be able to get a woman's number or whatever. But conversely, a woman would have to look basically flawless. But let me tell you, that's a multi-layered onion because, okay, so she looks, as you would call it, beat or look very well with her makeup on.
Right.
So then she gets to, you know, you get to know her, you realize that the lashes are fake. The complexion that she's presenting is fake.
Right.
She got her hair full of weave. You know what I'm saying? Those ain't her teeth. And it's like, who is this person? Mm-hmm. So I think it's very, very important for both sexes to know that, you know, we're putting on our best face, but don't you want that? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I want to talk about the natural thing real quick too, because I have an issue and I just got to get it off my chest. So I remember when the natural movement first came out, you know, it reemerged from the 70s.
Everybody was shaving their heads.
Yeah, like that, or not combing that hair. And I remember like 5 or 7 years ago, I put a post on Facebook, and, you know, we're just going to keep it funky. I said, nappy is different from natural.
Very.
And looks are not for everybody.
Right.
Everybody can't wear your hair like the way you're wearing it. Mm-hmm. Everybody can't wear the hat that I have on. And we can't do things that other people can do. I think that it's important for you to kind of tell some of the viewers and listeners, teach them about recognizing, and I'm gonna speak on it for the men, but you first since you're the guest.
So
was what works for you.
So I do have natural hair. Mm-hmm. I didn't shave my head to get it. I grew out relaxers maybe my sophomore year in college. I grew my relaxer out and I started to transition, trim off the permed hair over time. Mm-hmm. I do know that people that have had to cut down really low because their hair was that damaged, because we mismanage our hair. We're taught. I remember getting relaxers in my hair when I was 3, 4. Mm-hmm.
Now, what? Now, I want you to get into it now because I know Chris Rock had the movie called Hair or Good Hair.
Good hair, something like that. Yeah.
Tell people, for those who don't know, because I have some, you know, non-Black listeners and viewers. Right. Shout out to y'all too. Like, could you give some insight as to why you ladies were doing that, and then why you?
It was not a choice of mine, but my mother was relaxers, and I think it was. It just became a thing. Again, if we're taking it all the way back, slavery, I guess, and colorism and those kind of things. Yeah. It was like a thing on Saturday. You spend all day Saturday in the salon getting your hair straight as possible. Because if it wasn't relaxers, it was a straightening comb on the stove in the kitchen, getting your hair straight for church on Sunday. And it was like a thing. It's like a rite of passage as a little brown girl.
So would you say, D, would you say that we did that to look more European?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And people may not want to admit that.
Yeah, I want you to admit it.
But that's what it is, because we're conditioned from what we see on TVs and in magazines, and that this is the standard of beauty. Now, I am so grateful and I'm so glad that these little brown girls have a different thing, because you have this new generation that is celebrating wholeheartedly their brownness, their blackness, and their hair. Right. But being natural is not an excuse, okay, to completely disregard presentation. And when I say presentation, I'm natural. And sometimes I'll wear my natural hair, but I wear wigs because it protects my natural hair. I'm not a hairstylist. I don't know really how to style my natural hair. So sometimes I'll practice and I'll do little twist outs and things like that. I think it's beautiful. I love
it. Right there. Is that a wig you have on now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I wear wigs because it protects my natural hair. And when I was wearing weaves and sew-ins and stuff like that, I was breaking my hair off. I was damaging my hair. And the first wig that I put on, because remember now, at one point wigs were like, when you're 17, 18, it was like, oh God, that's a wig, ew. You know,
old lady wig.
These girls going to prom with wigs that look better than mine. And I was like, these girls are going to high school proms with these laid out $400 or $500 wigs. And, you know, times are changing. I feel like it's not fair because they should get the ugly prom photo like everybody else did. But I digress.
Right.
However, I just don't think saying that we're natural is an excuse to not present yourself well. And when I say present yourself well, something, like you said, everything doesn't work for everybody. And I'm not saying that your hair has to be straight, but it shouldn't be matted. You know, it should at least be combed. When I wear my natural hair, I at least comb my natural hair. I put some conditioner into my fro. I brush it up. I don't really do the baby hairs and lay it down, but I at least comb my hair. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to wear a full face of makeup if you don't want to be natural, but you should wash your face. You should at least wash your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should at least bathe, you know, those kind of things. I think being natural sometimes is taken out of context, you know, because there are some natural girls that, like, their hair is amazing, you know?
Now that's interesting, because, you know, one of the things that I wanted to touch on, and we talked about how you know, we straightened our hair and we did the hot comb, or the permanent, as the old folks call it, to look more European, simply because in magazines.
That's all that was in the magazine.
And you know, I remember, like, growing up, you know, as a kid in the 80s, like, you know, everything was, you know, white this, white that, had to be size 2. Like, there are various, you know, but now we live in a time where I would like to say it's cool to be Black. So, you know, I've heard someone say this, and I've kind of adopted it in certain situations. You know, everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black.
Yeah, because all your skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
Yeah, but even from a social standpoint, you know, being pulled over, but we're not doing that tonight. But where I'm going is this: is here. So we have a very famous family out of Calabasas, California, that has taken such advantage of Black culture. And we know them to be very successful, for basically ripping off Black culture in every way, even procreating with Black culture. And, you know, I don't have a problem with, you know, interracial, whatever. You love who you love. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when you look at one of the daughters, who her business was $1 billion business off of, you know, having big lips, which we were told, you know, all our lives, you know, oh, you big lips. All of these different names. Like, for a person like you that's Black and proud of every one of her, you know, Black features, if you will, and all of that stuff. Like, how do you feel about appropriation?
Wow. So my feeling, I think Black culture has always inspired art.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that because makeup is an art.
Right.
Just like music is an art, fashion is an art.
Right.
I think our culture has always inspired that. You know, we were kings and queens. Cleopatra would paint colors. We use that as war symbols in Africa. Like, so I think our culture, so to me, it's not as though I don't see it. My issue is always when we give credit where credit is not due. I remember a time, and I don't even dislike, the Kardashians per se. Well, probably shouldn't have said their name, but this family, I don't dislike the family. My only issue is when we have little brown babies with these affluent Black men, we have to own all of that.
Right.
When I say own all of that, I mean that because you have these little brown children, racism is racism, right?
It is.
Black people, which we spoke in the beginning, we have developed a sense of colorism amongst us. To me, is really stupid. And I say that it's really stupid because and when I say they, I don't say all white people. That's not what I'm saying. When I say they, I mean the ones that see Black people or brown people as beneath them.
Yeah.
They are going to see your little brown children as Black.
Right.
They care less that they are mixed, that they are half Black and half white. They're Black. They're going to identify them as that. So when things are happening that could directly affect these little brown children, that because they're beautiful and they have hair that you guys adore and you think is really cute, these things that are happening are going to affect them. So if we're going to own this and we're going to enjoy this and we love this Black man and we have these Black children or brown children of color, because I know a lot of people don't like to identify with the term Black. They're a person of color. If we're going to say we love these people of color and we love this man of color that gave us these people of color, you're going to want to stand by what's going to directly affect your children. If you have a child that can't read, and then all of a sudden no kid that can read unless you can read at the age of 4, can go to school, you're going to fight for your child to go to school.
Right.
So if these issues are directly affecting or could directly affect your children, I think we should be more vocal about these things. That's my issue.
Well, and I would like to add on to it, and add my own feeling. Number one, what you said was actually very, very important to know. I think a lot of middle America, or as Ray Charles called it, the populace, they don't realize that a lot of things that are a thing were once Black. Are because of Black people. Yeah. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I remember there was a dance, the whip and the nay-nay, like 4 years ago or something like that. And they were doing the dance on Dancing with the Stars. So another Black female that I know, she's like, you know what? It's theirs now. They can have it. And, like once it gets to that point, once it gets mainstream, they're going to frame it another way. Yeah. Which are going to do their best to take it away from us. That was one example. In regards to the Kardashians, I'll say it because it's my show. They are getting credit for box braids. And I'm like, what are box braids? Box braids are braids. And my father from Somerville would say, plait. You got your hair in plait, boy? That kind of stuff. But that is box braids. Yeah. And I have to say this about them. Honestly, I've watched this show in the past, and I will have to say this. There is a responsibility for them to direct the credit in the right direction.
Absolutely.
They need to say, You know, I know that you guys have only heard of this because of us, because you tune into us, but this belongs to these people.
Yeah,
right.
Collectively, you talking about 1 billion
Right.
followers almost, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I think it was Kylie,
Right.
had $1 billion lip gloss or something like that, or
her makeup company.
her empire was $1 billion, right?
She sold it.
And that's staggering to me. But I think it's very important that we hold those people accountable for it. I do like the movement and the way that we're going, and I know we kind of got off of it, but we have about 5 minutes left, D, a little less. I would like for you to, if you can, speak on some Black makeup brands.
Okay.
Or people that you would like to recognize. I don't care if they're friends or they're just people that you buy their products, wherever they may be.
Definitely. So I'll start with some Black influencers. I know one of my favorite would be Jackie Aina. Because before speaking out has been a thing, she has been for many years, quite disliked for calling makeup companies out for not accommodating women of color and darker skinned women. She is legendary for that. Juvia's Place is a Black owned brand. OPV Beauty, that's their Instagram handle. Juvia's Place, that's their Instagram handle. OPV Beauty, that's their Instagram handle. Colored Rain, that's their Instagram handle as well. Color du Jour, she is another Black makeup company. She's a makeup artist. She does amazing work. And those are some of my favorites. Influencers or smaller makeup artists, I guess you can say. In the Charleston area for sure, I adore Tiara Nicole. I actually took I took a couple makeup classes with her. She's a big deal in terms of the city, but she's a big deal outside of the city. Alicia from the BK Beauty Bar. Oh, how did I forget? I use her contour powder. That's her powder foundation is what I have on my face from BK Beauty Cosmetics. She is so dedicated to her brand, and she does such an amazing job of putting forth the best products. And I think that's another really important thing, is that these are Black brands that just don't put shit together and then put it on the market. You can tell in her product, in her presentation, in the quality of what she puts forth, that she took time in that. And I love, love, love to see that. And then Beauty by JJ, she was the first brown girl. She's the reason I actually started doing makeup and playing in makeup, because she was the first brown girl I saw on YouTube in 2008. And she was doing hair tutorials, and then she did makeup tutorials, and she's into fashion a lot now. And she was one of the first brown girls that kind of really inspired me, because we're of similar skin tone. And she was so proud in her Blackness, and she made sure that whatever she put forth was
excellent,
investment into brown girls and stuff like that. So that was something that was really important to me. And Aaliyah J as well. Even though she is lighter skinned, she also has been one to speak about colorism and the support of all women of color, which is also really important to me as well. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry, but these are the people that I follow on Instagram that I see they're posted. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, I think that's good, Dee. I think that you did a good job on that. And we have like a couple minutes left. I would like for you to pump yourself up.
Oh yeah,
pump it.
So my Instagram handle is Denika SoPretty. My makeup content page is the SoPretty Experience. My website is thesoprettyexperience.com, and both of those are linked in my Instagram bio, Denika SoPretty. I'm moving into accessories, so I'm getting my boutique together now. Pieces like purses, headbands, sunglasses, things that when I was in college and I first got on Twitter and I got on Instagram, these were things that I was known for. I was known for a cute purse and really unique handmade earrings and headbands and sunglasses. So these are kind of things that I enjoy and I think, are just timeless. So yeah, that Yeah, I'm a makeup artist. Again, you can see my work on the SoPretty Experience and everything like that. You can book on my
How can they book you?
On my website.
Website. All right, that's good. So I think that we've had a good conversation. First of all, I appreciate you coming through. I want everybody to know that yesterday we talked and she threatened me, and she said, "You better be glad that I like you because I turned down a few of these." So I'm so happy.
I'm a behind the scenes. I like to take pictures and go.
No, but I appreciate your time. You have a wealth of knowledge, and you know how people's attention span is, so we don't want to go too long. But definitely, if you guys have any questions for Denika, please hit her on those platforms, IG, her website. Do you have an email that people can contact you?
SoPrettyExperience@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's very simple. All right. Yeah, there you go. And also, too, before we leave, we just want to leave you with this. Be confident in yourself, but be real with yourself. Everybody can't wear everything. Everybody can't do every style. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything's not for everybody. But most of all, we want you to take away from this conversation that you owe it to yourself to be your best self and be your best self all the time. And I would like for you guys to be very, very safe out there. Continue to wear your masks. Please keep your social distance. Please wash your hands. Please look out for the elderly. Look out for the children. And most of all, just do the right thing. Again, this is a different echelon. You can contact me. I ain't finished yet, D. Contact me at DarrisNolan28 at Gmail if you have any questions or you have any remarks or you have any questions for her that you may have forgotten her information. Obviously, I'm a different echelon on IG, Darris Nolan on Facebook. But most of all, you can, you turn into this YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe. Did you subscribe?
I will.
Okay, thank you. Put you right on the spot. Yeah, please subscribe. Tell all your sorrows do the same thing. We're gonna have some more stuff. This whole month is dedicated to self-care. So next week we're gonna have a gentleman on. I won't give you his name yet, but we're gonna talk about fitness, getting into that gym, eating the right things, taking care of your body, using your body, or petitioning it as a temple. So once again, thank you guys for your attention. Thank you guys for your ears. Thank you guys for the love. And most of all, thank Miss Denika SoPretty for joining the I Am a Different Echelon or a Different Echelon podcast family. You guys be safe, be well, and God bless. Have a good day.